South Africa brushed Afghanistan aside last night in Trinidad to book their place in the final. But who will meet them? Well, today in Guyana, two powerhouses of world cricket meet. Will it be Rohit Sharma's India or Jos Buttler's England? India haven't lost a game this competition. They've brushed aside all comers so far, including a stunning win led by their talismanic captain last time out against Australia. They head into the semi-final full of confidence. England haven't been as convincing, but the defending champions are here and they've started to click, and they are 2 wins away from going back to back. A place in the final in Barbados awaits the winner. It's India against England. So we have all moved south to the north coast of South America and Guyana for the second semi-final of the ICC Men's World T20, who will meet South Africa in Bridgetown on Saturday. Well, we're going to have to wait and be patient because we've had a lot of rain here at the Providence Stadium. At the moment, it is not raining, but as you can see probably behind me, the covers are still on, and the ground staff at the minute are not making any effort to take those covers off. They were very proactive about an hour and a half ago, 2 hours ago. I would suggest they probably think a bit more is coming, but there's some fans in the ground already nice and early, mainly Indian supporters. Rohit Sharma and his team and Jos Buttler and his team did come out and have a little look around. The pitch was uncovered, so they got the bowlers run-ups marked out, and then the rain has returned. But at the moment it's dry, but the ground staff are not going anywhere with the covers, so we'll wait and see. They know a lot more about it than me and Owen and DK. Good hats, by the way.
Thank you, Woody.
It is a day to be patient, and also a day where it's quite difficult, I imagine, mentally for the players. They don't know when they're going to start. They don't know if it's going to be on and off. How do you deal with that?
It is one of the toughest aspects of playing in conditions which is rain affected. You don't know when it starts, but what's worse is when it starts and it stops. Then it gets a little harder, especially if you're batting, you have to start again. Those are the challenges. The one thing that they will be worried about a little bit is making sure the ground is in good condition to start, which, as we all know, ICC will take enough care knowing that there's a final round the corner as well. But for the moment, you get the feeling, speaking to the players, they're itching to start. They want it to start. In a big game like this, they've been preparing, and it's the downtime that gets you. So you're always thinking about the game. What do I do? How am I going to approach it? And that's the place where they are in right now.
Well, what we do have is 250 minutes of extra time to get a game in. If the worst comes to it, the shortest game would be 10 overs aside, and that would have to start at about 4:40 p.m. local time. If it is a shorter game, does that suit England?
Here, I certainly think in a game like today, two of the best sides in the world, but a bit of sneak peek at the wicket, not much grass on it, it does look dry, and India are the informed team in this tournament. They've been absolutely outstanding. England, however, in knockout phases become better. So you would say if it was a fully completed game, India would go in as favourites. However, the shorter the game, the more it brings England into it, I believe. Just simply because the level of unpredictability that you get with the shorter formatted game, it brings in more match winners, more opportunity for one person to have a day out as opposed to 2 or 3. But both sides will be chomping at the bit to get out there. DK hit the nail on the head. With how you spend your energy now can often determine how well prepared you are when the covers come off and we get going, mentally and physically. You know, some guys will have slept well, not so well last night. Long 45-minute trip to the ground this morning, watching it absolutely pour down with rain, thinking, you know what, when are we going to get going? England have been in this situation before in this tournament, so they'll know exactly what they need to do.
Memories of Adelaide or not? Are we banishing those aside?
How are we going to go back there now?
What have India done so well up to this point? Because they have brushed everyone aside, really.
I just did a small piece on Instagram about how India have turned a new leaf, especially Rohit Sharma. I think post that game in Adelaide, things have changed with this outlook of how it needs to be played. I think he's put his foot down and said, India, come the knockout game, we are going to play exactly like we played in the league stage. And why I believe those words is because what happened a few months ago in the 50-over World Cup. Against New Zealand in the semi-final, they took the game on. Now that is what India needs to be doing today as well. That's a challenge. Because if we lose a couple of wickets, the immediate default feeling is to go back to just take time, ward the pressure off and then put pressure back, but that could be a little late, and that's what happened in Adelaide. We couldn't get going, and I think post that game, I remember having this chat distinctly post the game where he said it was the intent that we showed at the start that we need to change if we want to win big games, and that is what has been the most telling aspect. It's happened in one tournament, but just a few months ago. I would like to believe if what they have shown in the league stage is anything to go by, they will try and repeat what they have been doing.
How challenging is it to change that mindset? You had to do it as England captain, and it took a few years to get you to the point where you were 2019 World Cup winners, but you had to change it. How hard?
Yeah, it is hard, and I think that what makes it easier, TK's alluded to it a little bit, the role that Rohit Sharma plays in this Indian team. He goes out and embodies absolutely everything that it means to be aggressive, positive, and trying to apply pressure to the opposition. We saw it in the ODI World Cup right up until the final, until he got out, and then India sort of went back in their shell ever so slightly. The challenge I think India will face today, if they get out and try and play in that fashion, is how conducive this pitch is to playing very, very aggressive cricket. If we think that it's going to be a low-scoring game, par score at this ground is about 167, so you would imagine it'll be in and around there, potentially even lower. So a bit more of a dogfight than a slugfest. How they apply themselves in knockout games is essential, because I think that's probably the bit that England have over them. They know how to play a situation out. They know that they can go through the gears when it comes to the bat and the ball, and recognising that situation. I think, again, both captains have a big day. Can come in the form of Jos Buttler at the top of the order, because he's been in magnificent form in this tournament, not least in the last game. Talk about timing a run in a World Cup. So if he can embody that smart-natured cricket that he applies in the latter stages of any tournament, I think England will do well.
Just to pick up on that, if it's a dogfight, India want this positive mentality, but how smart, how quickly do you have to go to your smart cricket and assess what's in front of you?
Straight away. I think they already start on a bit of an advantage because of how the pitch is. We heard Morg say that from the sneak peek that he got, it feels like it's very dry. It could aid some spin. So that's what India will be banking on. I, in fact, feel slightly different to Morg. I feel if the game gets shorter, in fact, it gives India the liberty to go hard throughout. They don't need to second guess themselves. So that's what I feel. It'll be interesting. It's a challenge. But at the moment, if you do look at how this game is played, I feel it's India's form versus England's hope.
Okay, well, good news is the ground staff are out in the middle and they're starting to try and remove some covers, so that is encouraging. They're obviously thinking that perhaps the rain has passed, but we did manage to get a look at the pitch a little earlier, as Morgs has mentioned, and Harsha was having a look.
It's a little muggy this morning in Georgetown, but then we're in the Caribbean, you expect that. Temperature could go up to 31 degrees. It's the humidity that could be an issue, 72%. The wind's expected to be about 12 kilometers an hour, a little less than it's been on some of the islands. It's not 12 kilometers at the moment. It's pretty still just now. But the good thing about this ground from a playing perspective, it's got big boundaries. So where we are standing, square leg is 69 and point is 70. But you go cow corner, it goes up to 78 and 79 on the offside. Straight 79. It's not too bad down behind us either. 60 for the paddle shots. But there's a little bit of rain around. It's the kind of day where you look down at the pitch and up into the sky. And someone who did that all his life, Michael Atherton, he's from Manchester. You did that all your life, Michael. Tell us.
Georgetown pushed Manchester into the shade for rain, Harsha. I'm pleased to say, though, that the covers have done their job. This pitch looks very dry. It's quite cracked, actually, but the cracks are quite solid. They're not really moving around. So I'd expect this pitch to be quite low and skiddy. Particularly for the spinners. I don't think we'll see the kind of bounce or uneven bounce that we saw in Trinidad for the first semi-final. The stats here for day games suggest that the average score is about 167 batting first, and there's an even split. 5 teams have won batting first, 4 teams chasing, so it's really dependent on what the captains want to do. England tend to like to chase, whether they will today. With the rain around, I suspect they might want to, but I think we're going to see a kind of low, skiddy pitch, and it tends to favour the spinners here as a venue.
With all your experience, can you keep the rain away?
It's building up there, but the good thing is this is an incredibly fast-drying outfield. The ground staff do a fantastic job in getting the thing ready.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Drains well. There you are. That's the situation here.
Thank you, gentlemen. Some more encouraging news.